Hi everyone and welcome to our topic which is all about the introduction to international business and trade. So first is let's have the definition and scope of international business. So when you say the word international business, it refers to the commercial transactions that occurs across international borders. So this transaction involve the exchange of goods, services, technology, and capital between countries. So we all know na sa panahon ngayon, we are really into globalization wherein different countries are exchanging products or services and not just services but also technology tapos even mga capital no for different purposes like business expansion, for acquisition, so for many purposes. So the scope of this is there are types of international business. So it includes the exporting and of course you have the importing. So we also have this FDIs or the foreign direct investment. We also have the licensing and franchising and joint venture. So later we will be capitalizing on the difference between those four. Then in terms of the functional areas, we're going to talk about the marketing, finance, operations, and human resource, which is all adjusted for the international context because of course, there's a difference between the domestic context and international. So, in terms of sectoral involvement, it ranges from manufacturing and agricultural or agriculture to services and technology. So, the key points here is international business encompasses a broad spectrum of activities and sectors. So, malawak ang international business kasi iba't ibang industries yan, no? From manufacturing nga, from agricultural, from the services, no? And it involves understanding various legal, no? May mga legal concerns kasi yan. Kanyari, yung how countries give tariffs to protect their domestic products. Also in terms of cultural, no? And of course, the economic environments across countries. So now, in terms of the evolution of international trade, let's proceed with the historical perspective. So, first is in terms of the Asian trade routes. So, nauso yung Silk Road, no? Kung saan ito yung different na mga ruta from countries to countries that, that they use for exchanging products. And then, they use now the maritime routes. So, they connect Asia, Europe, and Africa. So, they now focus now on the sea. And then in the colonial era, there is a European exploration and trade monopolies. Okay? Wherein yung mga some of the products there are being monopolized by big countries. And then in terms of the Industrial Revolution, doon na pumasok yung technological advancement, which is the rise of the machines, and of course, there is a global trade expansion. Then, in the post-World War II, there's an establishment of international trade frameworks and organization. So these frameworks and organization are basically, increase the number of export and imports due to the coordination between different countries. So in terms of key developments, we have the GATT or the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which was formed in 1948 to reduce tariffs and trade barriers. So tariffs is basically the tax um, being given to the uh, imported items to protect the domestic products. Trade barriers could be like quota, no? There's a quota in importing, so it's like that. Or sometimes there's a policy to ban a product. And then WTO, or the World Trade Organization, which is the successor to GATT, established in 1995 to oversee global trade rules. So they are the organization that check if the policies related to global trade are being implemented or followed. Then let's proceed with globalization, uh, its drivers and impact. So, what are the drivers of globalization? First is, of course, the technological advancement. So, we can see that there are really improvements in the transportation sector and in terms of communication. So, with the rise of information technology, we really see an improvement. And then there is trade liberalization. So there's a reduction in trade barriers and tariff. So before, many countries believed that they can stand on their own, but they realized that there are some beneficial or benefits, no, of doing trades with other countries. And then we also have the economic policies wherein there are market-oriented reforms and the regulation. So market-oriented reforms is basically, directed to increase production and focus on the needs of the markets, no? And trying to deregulate the policies na nakakapag um, slow down ng pagdating ng products to the market. Also, there are cultural exchange, which is it increased global cultural interactions and even consumer preferences. Okay, so like in the Korea, of course, we were influenced by their culture. That's why we are also buying their products and services here. So the impact of globalization. So first is in terms of economic growth, there is an expansion of markets and increased competition. So nakita natin na tumaas yung market, no? Nag-expand pero dumami din yung competitors. So as mentioned a while ago, there is a cultural exchange, no? So nagkakaroon ng greater diversity and influence across borders. Sometimes before we don't use the products, no? But now we are now using the products of other countries. In terms of employment, of course, there's a creation of new jobs and opportunities, but also job displacement because of the technology. So now it is being handled by the machines, or sometimes the local businesses are being defeated by the uh, business, no, from other countries through exporting. So let's have key concepts: trade versus investment. So in terms of the trade, we see that it is the exchange of goods and services between countries. So there are types, which is the importing and exporting. In terms of investment, this is basically the allocation of capital to acquire assets or establish business operations in foreign countries. So once you try to allocate capital or bumili ka ng asset, no, or you establish your business in other countries, that is considered investment. So meron tayong types, which is the foreign direct investment and the portfolio. So sabi dito, no, trade involves movement of goods and services, while investment involves capital flow and ownership. So the trade impacts, no, balance of trade, while investment influence economic growth and market presence. So, kasi class, no, pag sinabi kasi nating balance of trade, technically, hindi pwede kasing sobrang daming import, no, kaysa export. Kasi, ang mangyayari yan is, yun nga, no, na yung mga domestic products natin are being neglected, or hindi siya nag-generate ng revenue. And sabi nga dito, no, yung investment nakaka-influensya ng economic growth. That's why, no, as you observe, the different countries is trying to, go to other countries. The president, for example, is trying to get investment from other countries. So, introduction to International Trade Organization. So, we have, as mentioned a while ago, we have the WTO. So, sila yung nag-oversee sa trade agreements and sa mga disputes, no? If there are some conflicts or disputes, then sila yung nag-manage nun. Then we have the IMF or International Monetary Fund, which sila yung nagbibigay ng financial support and advice to different countries. We also have the World Bank. So, yun, nag-offer din sila ng financial and technical assistance specifically for the development projects, no, nung mga countries. So, WTO facilitate trade negotiation and enforces trade agreements. IMF and World Bank, they support economic stability and development. So now let's proceed with the role of international business in the global economy. So first is in terms of economic contribution. Ano ba yung nagagawa ng international business sa global economy? So first is the market expansion, no? So because of international business or international trade, nagkakaroon tayo ng access to new market and resources. Of course, no, nagkakaroon ng job creation, which of course there are various industries or sectors that they create employment opportunities. Like for example, in the Philippines, no, when Shopee and Lazada boom in the Philippines, of course they need people to work for them. And of course, in terms of innovation, there is an increased competition that drives innovation and efficiency. So dahil sa international business and trade, nagkakaroon ng competition, pero at the same time, nagkakaroon din ng innovation dahil nga nagiging stiff yung competition. In terms of global economic integration, in terms of supply chains, nagkakaroon ng complex global supply chains rather, enhance efficiency and reduce costs. So dati, no, parang napakamahal mag-ship from one country to another, but due to the good supply chain management, napapababa na natin yung cost, and at the same time, we could able to get materials or products from different parts of the world. Then, in terms of economic interdependence, no, countries rely on each other for resources and markets. So, let's say if country A doesn't have enough resources for product A, and product B, country B has that product, then he could rely on country B. So, in terms of the major international business players, there are key players actually. So first is the MNCs or the multinational corporation. So ito yung mga malalaking firms na nag-ooperate in multiple countries. Examples are Apple and Coca-Cola. While there are SMEs or small and medium enterprise, which are smaller firms, no, na nag-expand internationally. And of course, there are also government and trade associations which influence trade policies and regulation. And in terms of roles and strategies, so MNCs or multinational corporation, nagpo-focus talaga sila dun sa global market penetration, and they really focus on their cost, no, to optimize their cost as much as possible. While the SMEs or the small and medium enterprise, they often leverage on niche markets, no? May specific market sila na tina-target at they really focus on specialized products, no, to prevent um, mimicking or duplicating, no, their products. In terms of current trends in international trade, there are emerging trends. So first is the digital transformation. So we all see how the e-commerce and digital trade has had grown, no? So meron talagang growth for this digital transformation, for this e-commerce rather. And of course, we have the sustainability wherein there is an increasing focus on environmental and social governance, no? So aside from, from importing exporting products, there's also a need to increase yung mga ginagawa for environment rather, and to ensure that, products are being regulated. For example, here in the Philippines, the products, no, even it is being exported, it should be registered to FDA or Food and Drug Administration. And then we also have some regional trade agreements, which is the rise on regional agreements like the EU, the USMCA, etc. So what are the impacts of trends? So first, in terms of the digital trade, there it offers new opportunities but also presents challenges like cybersecurity, no? Maganda na meron tayong mga digital trade pero possible din na ma-hack, no? In terms of sustainability, it pressures companies to adopt green practices and comply with regulation. So, ngayon, hindi lang tayo nakafocus on the international exchange, but also how the companies can able to help in preserving the environment through green practices. So there are some studies, no, of successful international businesses. So first is we have the Apple Incorporated, where their strategies for global market dominance was been observed, and their efficient and effective supply chain management was also observed. So normally they focus on product design, then they try to outsource, no, in terms of assembling those products, so in other countries to reduce costs. And of course, Alibaba Group, which is the e-commerce expansion and international market strategies. So, for example, the Alibaba app, no, is being used to get supplies from China. Then Nestle, no, is adaptation rather to local markets and global branding, no. So, kumbaga si Nestle, even though it's a global brand, pero it also penetrates the local market and adapt to the needs of the local market. So what are the lessons learned? So first is adaptation. No, you have to tailor strategies to local markets. So even though let's say your products is working in your country, but possible that if you're going to export that product, possible that it won't work in other countries. So you have to do adaptation. Then of course, you have to also focus on innovation, which is leveraging technology and innovation for competitive advantage. So it is important for you to improve and expand your technology and innovation through research and development. So next is the impact of technology on international trade. So first is the technological influences. So of course there is an automation due to the technology, no? There is really an observed efficiency on production, which lead to reduction of costs. Also, in terms of the digital platform, there is really a global trade through the e-commerce and of course digital marketing. You could able to buy products through the app from other countries. And it's easy to know the consumer behavior to data analytics so that you could able to also analyze the market trends and the consumer behavior. So what are now the challenges? That's the question. First is in terms of cybersecurity. Of course, there are some business information that are being um, hacked, no, by the hackers, and at the same time there is still a digital divide wherein um, there is a disparities in technology access between countries. There are still part of the country, or there are some countries that their technology is left behind, or their internet is a little bit uh, not super compared to other countries. So let's have the overview of global trade policies. So first is the key policy, which is the tariff and quotas. So as mentioned a while ago, these are the tools for regulating trade volume and protecting domestic industries. So yung tariff is yung tataasin yung tax na imported. Yung quota is yun nga no, yung hindi ka pwedeng mag-export kung ikaw ay exporter, no? Pwedeng i-limit lang nung country yung pag-import nung ine-export mo. And of course, trade agreements. So there are bilateral from one country to one country and multilateral agreements shaping trade relations. So what is the impact? So first is in terms of economic growth. So policies influence trade balance and economic stability. So it depends on the countries, but normally when there is a good policy that is both beneficial for different countries, then there there can be an inevitable economic growth. And of course, there are trade relations which affect the diplomatic and economic relationship between countries. In terms of cross-border investment flows, okay, so there are types of investment flows. First is the FDI, which is investment in physical assets or business operations abroad. So meron silang planta dito, meron silang mga store dito. That is foreign direct investment. Pag sinabing portfolio investment, these are investment na through stocks and bonds na kung saan yung other countries, they buy and sell no stocks and bonds. Okay? So in terms of trends, there is an emerging market which increase investment in developing countries. So because of this cross-border investment flows, nagkakaroon ng increased investment dun, lalo na sa mga developing countries. And of course, there is also a sectoral focus like shift investment focus to technology and sustainability. So next is the role of the MNCs or multinational corporation. First is in terms of market expansion. So they enter new markets and they try to leverage with the global resources, no? Even though they penetrate other countries, but still they try to, access different materials from the different countries as well. So hindi lang yung nanggagaling sa mismong bansa nila. They try to leverage on global resources. In terms of economic influence, significant impact on local economies and global markets as well. They also need to have strategic operations which optimize a global supply chains and operations. Since they will be operating in other countries, they need to ensure that they could utilize the global supply. Like for example, McDonald's, they have chicken. So, but of course, their chicken will not be coming anymore from other countries. So they find a local supplier in the Philippines, for instance, to get their poultry chicken. So what are the challenges? So there are regulatory compliance, which, navigate diverse regulatory environments. So they have to comply. So for example, here in the Philippines, they have to comply with the FDA. They have to comply with the health department if it has something to do with, with health products. And of course, cultural sensitivity, which is adapting to different cultural norms and practices. So, yung culture, kino-consider din natin, no? Specifically when you are operating in different countries. So, what are the international business challenges and opportunities? So, first, in terms of the challenges, there are regulatory issues, which is compliance with barring international regulation. Like for example, in the FDA in the Philippines, kailangan mo munang i-assess yung products mo, tapos may mga laboratory yan, so you have to pay for that. And kung may mga chemical dyan na hindi accepted here in the Philippines, then it might not be registered or it could be rejected. So cultural differences, no? Of course, a product might not be acceptable to one country to another. Like for example, let's say if you're going to, let's say, sell food products to Malaysia, it should be halal certified. Economic instability, so dealing with economic fluctuation and market volatility. So since you will put your business or your investment or export your products to other countries, possible that you can also face no economic fluctuation in those countries. So what are the opportunities? First is market growth. So there is an access to emerging markets with high growth potential, of course. And in terms of innovation, you could able to improve or have technological advancement and product development that suits that country. And lastly is what is the future direction in international business. So first is emerging trends, which is you can see sustainability and green business practices. No? Na they also focus on environmental responsibility. Kasi nga nakikita nila that the global warming is really happening. And of course, digital and technological integration. So with the use of the e-commerce app, no, through digital trade, ay mas napapabilis or mas na bebenta yung product, no, from one country to another. And of course, there is a geopolitical shifts which is nagkakaroon ng mga changes dun sa trade and investment na yun nga no, many countries are really finding development countries to put their foreign direct investment, no. So what are the predictions? Of course, there will be global trade dynamics where there will be potential shift in trade patterns and economic power centers. So possible that there will be countries that will be dominant in terms of the exporting, like the China. And of course, evolving business models, which is new business models emerging in response to global changes. So now we are into e-commerce, but possible in the future there will be a new business model that also have something to do with e-commerce.